Now I'm the narcissist and I'm the bad parent because my daughter turned 18 like 6 months ago. She got an apartment and took her stuff and she left, and she blames me for that.
You owe your parents for bringing you into this world and keeping you alive.
She found out who I voted for. Even the fact that I'm referring to her as a her, she would be very upset. So that will give you an idea of what I'm dealing with. The last text she sent me was that she just needs space. And again, I discussed that. I'm like, I don't know, space from what?
If you don't know me, hello, my name is Dimitri, and today I would love to dive into this very niche community on TikTok, which is commonly known as the estranged parents of TikTok, which in short is full of estranged parents who talk about their own experiences being estranged from their child or children. And I have definitely seen some great videos from these types of people where they have actually grown, they know their mistakes, they know what they did wrong, and they are just healing from that and trying to repair their relationship with their children. But unfortunately, more often than not, I see a lot of negative videos from estranged parents. Now, most of these estranged parents are mothers, estranged mothers, and I really have been wanting to talk about this for a while now because I myself am an estranged child. So I personally feel like I have personal experience on the topic and I can give a unique perspective on this situation, and I know the minds of these women and I know why they think that way. It's all very unfortunate. We'll get into it. I'm going to react to some videos of these women. Just to make it a long story short, I had a very tumultuous life growing up, but I had a very tumultuous relationship with my own mother, and it is coming up on 6 years of me going no contact with my mother. Now, I am not saying this for sympathy because I genuinely do feel that my life is much better off this way, because typically parents like this are narcissists. I know the word narcissist gets thrown around a lot, people incorrectly using the term narcissist. Kashka has come to join us. I genuinely believe that my own mother has narcissistic personality disorder, and a lot of these estranged parents have some kind of mental issue because a lot of these estranged parents genuinely don't understand why their children are no contact with them. Now, whether they genuinely believe that because they're that delusional, or they know what they did and they just don't want to admit it. And I'm sure that these estranged mothers probably share a lot of similarities to my own. So without any more nonsense, let's get right into the estranged parents of TikTok.
Any estranged parents out there? I am an estranged parent. I was estranged from 2 of my 3 kids. It's a blessing because one of my daughter that I was estranged from, she texted me and we actually reconciled and we spent Christmas together, which was freaking amazing. I have a son who I'm estranged from, and I did an experiment, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I didn't text him for Christmas. I wanted to see if he would text me.
Oh my god, this pisses me off so goddamn much. We have not even made it a fraction into the video. I will let her continue, but I just want to say firstly, you may not know the full reason on why these people's children have gone no contact with them, but hey, that little sentence just gave me a huge glimpse into why. That gesture is operating out of ego. You need to put your ego aside if you want to repair things with your child. If you abused your child and that's why they are no contact with you, hey, you need to put effort into that. Your child cannot sit there and repair everything for you. Your child has gone through enough. So it's time for you as the parent to put your ego aside and just text your fucking kid Merry Christmas. Is it that difficult? Your child is not your partner that you're in a little high school relationship fight with, being like, well, I'm not gonna text them because I just want them to text me back first, so I'm just gonna give them the silent treatment. That's what high schoolers do. But anyway, continue.
He never did. And I know that I'm a grown up and I'm the mom and I should make the effort to do it. But at the same time, I'm like, he's a grown-ass man. He's 28 years old. He has a wife, a kid. He's a police officer. Like, he completely is a grown man. He can make it.
And you're a grown woman. And you're a grown woman. You are his mother. He probably doesn't want to talk to you. And you not texting him is probably just giving him more reason into, well, my mother doesn't care about me. That's how he probably feels. And I know you as the estranged parent probably feel that way too, but this isn't about you. It's about your relationship with your child and trying to repair that. And having this toxic mind frame of, I'm not gonna text him because he needs to text me first. That is not helping the situation. And just to give you a little bit of insight into my life and my own personal anecdote on a topic like this, I'm estranged from my mother. My father is not in my life, but I do have a godfather, which quite honestly, we are on the way to becoming estranged as well for a myriad of reasons. And yes, I am a grown woman, but in the dynamic, I am still the child in the dynamic. That person is the parent, I am the child. And after enduring so much verbal abuse from this person and negativity and toxicity and could never be happy for me, never congratulate me on anything, and it was just so dreadful to talk to this parental figure in my life. I myself as the child feel like, why should I text them Merry Christmas? Why should I text them Happy Thanksgiving? They obviously don't care about me. They don't wonder about what I'm doing on that holiday. They don't invite me to anything. So I myself as the child didn't say anything to my godfather for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, Christmas, or New Year's. But guess what? He didn't say anything back to me either. And this is coming from someone who he himself has said the parent should reach out, not the child. But he himself, as the parental figure, still couldn't do that. Do you think that is going to make me feel like, oh, I need to step up and repair my relationship with this man? No, he is verbally abusive. Literally having this person in my life was giving me gray hairs from the stress of having this person in my life. But him not saying anything to me or contacting me in months or on any holidays, that is just, to me as the child, proving my point that this person dislikes me and doesn't care about me, even though they are my parental figure. And so with that being said, your son, lady, probably feels the same way. He probably dreads talking to you. You probably can't be happy for anything that he does in his life. So why would he text you Merry Christmas? Why would he want to reach out to you? And it's your job as the parent, yes, you are both grown adults, but it is your job in the dynamic of being the parental figure to reach out to your child. Because he probably already feels like you don't give a fuck about him. Just saying. And I know I can't project my own experiences onto other people's situations. And yes, I am generalizing, but I have to in this video. I know not everyone's situation can be the same. I'm just trying to give you, the viewer, and maybe this mother, a glimpse into the mind of an estranged child.
Own decisions. He knows I'm his mom, and for him not to text me, like, it's so hurtful. So I'm trying to.
How do you think he feels? How do you think he has felt his whole life? How do you think he feels when you don't text him? It's not about you. Oh my gosh, this makes me really upset to hear. Yes, I can understand grieving not having your son in your life, but your child is also grieving not having you in his life. I had to go through insane amounts of healing, even though I absolutely hated my mother. I did not want her in my life. It is still extremely painful. Becoming no contact with a parent is an absolute last resort. Children don't want to go no contact with their parents. Sometimes you just have to do it in order to have a better life. And as someone whose mother is no longer in my life, I can confidently say that no one can fill the void of your mother, and that is very painful. That can be different for everyone. Like, obviously, some people see their grandmothers as their mothers, but I don't have my grandparents and I don't have my parents. and no one can fill the void of my mother, and that is fucking painful. But you know what? He has probably tried to reconcile with you. I'm sure he doesn't want his daughter to not have a grandmother. No one wants that. But these things have to happen when typically on the parent side, there is no reconciliation. The parent does not want to better themselves in order to be in a relationship with their child and their grandchildren, because they physically will not see themselves as the problem and they will not want to get help. So you think it's painful? Imagine how he feels. Imagine how his granddaughter feels. But believe me, their life is probably a lot less painful without you in it. And I know that's very aggressive to say, but you've probably put him through years of hell. So yeah, it's painful, but how do you think he has felt his entire life?
I figured I'd jump on this estranged parent trend. I have a child who it's my firstborn, my oldest, lives almost 1,000 miles away. Used to talk to her maybe once every other month, basically just to make sure she was alive, trying to give her space, etc., etc. She found out who I voted for, which is deeply personal. She has no clue.
And I can already with 100% certainty know that you voted for Trump. Anyways.
My fundamentals, why I voted for why I voted, she's never asked. She's only made assumptions. And because of that, she has decided she needs more space. And all I could think of was 1,000 miles away and then maybe a 15-minute conversation every other month, which I initiate. You need more space from that?
Because you're probably exhausting to talk to. And a lot of people in these comments are saying a vote for Trump is a vote against their family. Vote for Trump is a vote against women. You actively voted against your daughter having rights. Regardless on where you lie on the political axis, there are probably other reasons on why your daughter is estranged from you and needs space from you. It's probably not only just because of who you voted for. That was probably the final nail in the coffin, especially since you are saying that you would only have one conversation every other month. If your child does not want to reach out to you, it's probably for a reason. If your child doesn't want to tell you about what's going on in their life, it's probably for a reason. And it's not because of them and what's going on in their life. I can say that a lot of people would want to have their parents share their accomplishments with them and be happy for them and hear about what's going on in their life. But when you turn that conversation into something negative and exhausting, always has to end in a fight, always has to end on some sort of negative term, yeah, I would not want to talk to you either. I would want to hide things about my life from you. And I've gone through the same exact thing. And it's not because what I'm doing is sketchy, but it's because every single time I would want to share something about my life, it would just be turned into something negative. Because a lot of these parents are just negative, nasty, toxic people. And your child does not have to be obligated to deal with you. And if you are toxic and negative and nasty, especially to your children and to everyone else in your life, that's a you problem. You need to go to therapy. And a lot of these estranged children are willing to work on their relationships with their parents, but a lot of these parents have a huge ego and physically will not go to therapy and seek help.
Her lifestyle choices are very different than mine. Obviously, I have never pushed my thoughts, opinions, or choices onto her. Even the fact that I'm referring to her as a her, she would be very upset. So that will give you an idea of what I'm dealing with.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to apologize for calling this mother's child her daughter, but now that I have more information, I can safely assume that your child probably is non-binary or trans, or clearly does not resonate with she, her pronouns. So I'm going to continue in this video with saying this person's child and they, them, just because I don't know this person. So you knowing that, as this person's parent, you are actively choosing to not respect this person. I know a lot of people have a lot of really shitty opinions about pronouns and stuff like that, but you actively going out of your way to like misgender and not use someone's correct pronouns, it just goes to show how much you don't give a fuck about your child and their opinions and their feelings. You should respect your children and show your children love and kindness, and actively going out of your way and willfully knowing that you are misgendering your child on purpose, you're an asshole. You're an asshole, and I can clearly see why the fuck your kid doesn't want to talk to you. And you are actively going out of your way to disrespect them, and you're sitting there fucking smirking about it. No fucking wonder why your kid does not talk to you anymore.
But I just want to say that the last text she sent me was that she just needs space. And again, I discussed that. I'm like, I don't know, space from what? I'm not sure.
Hear the own words coming out of your mouth. Oh my god. Gain a new perspective on life. That's just all I have to say. What are you talking about? Okay, and so this next lady I'm about to show you is someone called Doormat Mom on TikTok, who is very notorious for showcasing this narcissistic behavior for being an estranged parent. So let's go ahead and take a look at one of Doormat Mom's videos, which in itself gives me everything I need to know about this lady. You intentionally put your username as Doormat Mom. That immediately tells me that you probably don't take accountability for your actions. But anyway, let's go ahead.
The biggest cop-out in the world that I hear from the estranged adult child community on this platform is that they don't owe their parents anything. Yes, I'm going to say it. Yes, you do. You absolutely do.
Okay, first of all, the snarkiness and the sense of entitlement oozing off of this woman is disturbing. Let's go ahead and see what exactly their children owe her.
You owe your parents for bringing you into this world and keeping you alive.
That is the bare minimum. That is the bare minimum. That is the bare minimum. Keeping a baby alive, a child alive, is the bare minimum requirement to being a parent. Also, children don't ask to be born. I didn't ask to be born. I didn't ask to be here. Me being here right now in this moment is not a decision that I made. That was a decision that my parents made. And also, not a lot of the time, it isn't even a decision parents make. Sometimes people have to have children out of necessity, or because they can't do anything about it, or like cultural and religious differences. Some people just have to have children, but regardless of how that children comes to be is not like the fault of the child itself. Just because you kept a baby alive, just because you did the bare minimum, child doesn't owe you anything out of that. A baby cannot fend for itself. A baby cannot feed itself. A baby cannot take care of itself. It needs an external source to help keep it alive. And that is your job as the parent. That is your responsibility, and that is exactly what you signed up for the minute you decided to have a child. And the entitlement is disgusting.
You owe them for the love they gave you, the caring they showed you, and the protection that they afforded you.
That's just your job. And also, might I just say, your child didn't ask to be stuck with you. Maybe if you were a different person, maybe if you were a better person, this wouldn't even have to be a conversation. This wouldn't even have to be a video that you are making if you would just treat your child a little better and put your ego aside. The ego is insane on these people.
As they sent you on your way to live your life. And yes, you owe them as the good parents that they were.
Good parents. If we're talking about estranged children, then good parents is an overstatement.
Seat at your wedding and an opportunity to have a relationship with their grandchildren.
Yeah, no. I deserve a seat at your wedding. No, you don't. especially if you are narcissistic or mentally ill or just a difficult as fuck person to be around. If you are not invited to your child's wedding, there is probably a very good reason for that. And it's probably because you cannot control yourself as a person. A lot of parents are not invited to their children's weddings as they can make it all about them, stir up drama that doesn't matter. A wedding is supposed to be a happy, celebratory day. And when you bring toxic, narcissistic people to an event that is not about them, they will go and do anything in their power to make it about them. So your child just knew who you are as a person and knew that you would ruin it in some sort of way. And if you are a destructive person, you are not deserved a seat at the wedding. As someone with a narcissistic parent myself, a lot of narcissists, no matter what it is, always on a special occasion, will go out of their way to make it about them because all of the attention has to be on them. And this is not just good attention. A lot of the times it manifests as negative attention because any attention is good attention for the narcissist. So personally, me as a child, doing holidays, especially with other people and like extended family members and stuff like that, there would always be something. There would always be something to complain about, something to bitch about, something wrong with the event. There was no like happy, calm, nice family gathering. That was non-existent for me growing up because my narcissistic, immature parent had to make it all about her, and oftentimes that came in the form of complaining or quite literally just ruining everything because it has to be about them. So no, you are not owed a seat at the wedding. And also, may I add, you are not owed being into your grandchild's life. If you treated your child like shit, why would your child let you treat their grandchild that way? I have a sister who is 10 years older than me, so she has a child. And she is also estranged from our mother. We were both estranged from her when we turned 18. So firstly, if both of your adult children don't talk to you anymore, that is definitely a you problem, and that is not a problem with your kids. Since my sister has a child, my mother is not in that child's life because our mother was neglectful, especially to my older sister, abusive, not only verbally but physically, and is just a destructive, tumultuous person. You know what? And I don't blame my sister for not having our mother in her child's life. Because if I were her and I had a child, my mother would definitely not be in my child's life. No, you do not get to see my child. Because I know that you would probably, if not abuse the grandchild the way you abused me, you would probably try to jeopardize the relationship with that child. So the narcissistic grandparent would try to jeopardize the relationship between the mother and the child, because narcissists want you to be on their side. Narcissists want you to think that they're the best person in the whole world. So I can very well see that being something that would happen. The narcissistic grandparent talking shit about the parent to the grandchild, which is completely inappropriate conversation for a child to have with an adult, but it happens. It happens. So you are not deserved any of these things, and it's probably a reflection of your behavior. It is not a reflection of your children, it is a reflection of you. So when are you, the narcissistic parent, going to put your ego aside and do something about it and heal yourself and purposefully heal the relationship with your child? It's not as simple as that, because narcissists don't think they are the problem. They don't think they have an ego problem. They don't think that they're in the wrong, because it's a mental illness. And a lot of narcissists don't get help. A lot of children have ultimatums with their narcissist parents saying, which that's something I went through too. If you don't go and help yourself, you cannot have a relationship with me, because I will not continue to allow you to treat me this way and to be a burden on my life and try to sabotage and manipulate my life. So sorry that got a little heated and passionate, but I know exactly what is going on behind the scenes right now.
If they were good parents to you, yes.
And also, can I just say really quick, good parents is a very subjective.
And I'm so tired of that psychobabble that provides you a cop-out of mass proportions.
Yeah, so I know that you don't see yourself as the problem, and that is the problem within itself. Oh my god, what is this? This is Daily Mail UK. My ungrateful daughter cut me off after I refused to fund her second wedding. I can guarantee you that's probably not what happened, because narcissistic parents will try to put the blame on you and make you look like the bad guy and often fabricate things. Now I'm hitting back for doormat moms everywhere to help other parents against their entitled children. Babe, I can tell you right now who is and who isn't the entitled one in this situation. Girl, this does not make you look good. Also, I feel like this is fake. This cannot be real. Doormat Mom No More app available now. Who is this woman? So not only is she not going to take any accountability for the way that she has treated her children, but she is then going to profit off of it and monetize it as much as she can. Yeah, girl, you definitely look like you're in the right. Yeah, girl, you definitely look sane, and everyone definitely believes you. What a weirdo. Honestly, what a weirdo.
Kids are an absolute joke. Now I'm the narcissist and I'm the bad parent because my daughter turned 18 like 6 months ago, and basically she moved out. She got an apartment and took her stuff and she left, and she blames me for that. Even though, I mean, I never technically kicked her out. She could stay at my house till forever, honestly.
First of all, I'm gonna say something a little mean. This woman definitely has a powered by bitch dust sticker on the back of her car. Every single time one of these people says, I didn't do anything wrong, she left because she wanted to for no reason at all. Super convincing. Super convincing. Also, moving out at 18, no one wants to move out at 18. I am someone who had to become independent, honestly, at 17. And I have been living on my own since 18 years old. And it's difficult. It's not easy, especially without your parents. Going into the world as an adult without your parents is super difficult. And the only people I can imagine that would just love to move out the second they're 18 are people who are being abused by their parental figures. People who are in loving family and home environments probably don't want to leave. Not that I would know. Not that I would know anything about that, but I would assume that if you love your family and you genuinely love being at home and love being around your parents and your siblings, and you have a good home life, I can make a safe assumption and say that you're probably not fucking busting to leave, okay? But people who were abused and people who have tumultuous relationships with their family, like counting those days down until you are 18, until you are a legal adult who can make decisions for yourself, time couldn't go by any fucking slower, honestly. Lady, I know it's not for no reason, especially if she didn't, quote, has no money. When you are being so abused to a very, difficult point, you will have to make very hard decisions, and you will have to sacrifice comfort. Me personally, as a teenager, I have struggled with running away from home, because running away from home and couch surfing and quite literally running from authorities so that they don't bring me back to my mother was more manageable than being at home with my mom. It does get that bad. It does. So even if your child has no money to move out, it doesn't matter. Comfort does not matter when you are trying to get out of an abusive situation. You will sleep on couches. You will not know where you're gonna stay the next day. You will not like eat or shower and basically be homeless, because anything is better than being in a toxic, abusive relationship with your family.
A couple of my rules was, as soon as she turned 18, I told her she had to be home during the weekdays by 10 p.m. And if she wasn't home by 10 p.m., she couldn't get out of my house. On the weekends, I would give her an extra hour and she can come home at 11. I have kids, you know, my son's 10 and he needs his sleep, so she needed to be home. But she tried to find like this way around the rule, because she had boyfriends and friends and she wanted to stay out some of the days because she was 18, and like her way around the rule was that she would just sleep over at this one girl's house.
What? Okay, first of all, I can understand like having a curfew. Yes, having a curfew for an adult is a little wackadoodle, but like she said, she has children. If you have younger children in the house, I can totally understand setting that boundary of like, hey, I don't want people in and out of my house past 10 p.m. I understand that, but why is she not allowed to sleep at her friend's house? Why is that an issue? She goes out with her friends, she's an adult, and she wants to spend the night at her friend's house as an adult? What's the problem with that?
So I put a stop to that right away, and I told her that if she doesn't tell me within 24 hours that she's going to go to somebody's house, then once again, she can get out.
Why do you have to know if she's an adult? What? Also, you saying I didn't kick her out in the beginning of the video, but I'm hearing a lot of, you can get out of my house, you can get out of my house. If you do this, you can get out of my house. Baby girl, you probably kicked her out of the fucking house. Also, her saying, you can stay at my house as long as you want, obviously fucking not. If her doing little tiny minuscule things that like doesn't fucking matter is a reason for her to get the fuck out of your house.
Fair that she was 18 and at least she was letting me know where she was going to be and blah blah blah. Again, it's my house, it's my rules. Just a couple days ago, before she decided to move out, she parks her car on the street because she doesn't want us to go through it.
Lady, you go through her car? That's another thing. It's just these parents that have no privacy, especially for adult children. People deserve privacy. And I do not respect parents who genuinely don't believe that their children should have privacy, especially if they're an adult. Bitch, you're rolling your fucking eyes about she parked her car on the street because she doesn't want us to go through it. Why are you going through her shit?
And so she parked it on the street and I decided to go through it because I feel like I seen like a rapper, you know, like one of them like the Swisher rappers, you know?
Even if she was smoking Swishers, then like she's an adult. I would understand if it was an issue if she was doing it inside of your house, but she's not. So you were openly admitting to going through her car because you thought I thought I saw a Swisher Sweet rapper. No, bitch, you're just fucking nosy. You're nosy and you're narcissistic, and you're invading your adult child's privacy. So no fucking wonder, dude.
And I seen it, and so I went through her car and it kind of smelled a little bit, you know, I can't say it on here, but it smelled like she was doing a little. And so I brought it up to her and we started having a screaming match, and I told her to get them out of my house.
Oh my god, these people, I can't believe I have to share air with these fucking people. I didn't kick her out of my house. Can we just rewind it to the beginning of the goddamn video where she says, I didn't kick her out of my house. She can stay in my house as long as I want. I would never kick her out. Proceeds to tell us a story about her kicking out her daughter out of her house.
And so she left, and I called up my sister. I called up my mom. I called up everybody, and I let them know that if they let her in, I wasn't going to talk to them anymore. So she is.
That is so extremely disgusting and manipulative. Are you fucking serious? Your child, your adult child, decided to leave, so you then have to go and jeopardize the situation, manipulate the situation, and tell your family members not to help her because you are selfish and you are disgusting and your ego is as big as the fucking sun. If you loved and you cared for your child and you had an argument with your child, and so that said child decided to leave, like temporarily, to just go cool off, to get some fresh air, to think on the situation, you are then going to jeopardize the situation and say, don't let her in or else I'm not going to talk to you. If you let her in your house, then we're fucking done. You are a manipulative piece of fucking shit.
We either had to sleep at a friend's house or sleep in her car, and she was pissed off and got a new apartment, and now they're moving out, and everybody thinks I'm the bad guy.
How can you not think you're the bad guy? How can you genuinely, oh my god, I'm flabbergasted. How can you genuinely tell this story and think you're in the right? How can you genuinely tell this story and not see a problem with any of your actions? And this is exactly why people become estranged from their parents. Because their parents will do shit like this and do not believe that they're in the wrong. They do not apologize. They do not try to mend the relationship. And it just continues into a cycle of abuse and manipulation and ultimatums. That is no way to live. People deserve peace. People deserve peace and quiet and to have a happy life. And that's why a lot of children go no contact with their parents, because in some cases it is absolutely impossible to live a happy, healthy, peaceful life with your parent in it. It's impossible.
I don't think I'm the bad guy. I think she's the bad guy. I don't feel like my rules are that bad. I'm the boss, not you. For although she came to me and she told me that she found an apartment and she's moving out and she'll figure it out even if she has to be broke. She basically said she's gonna have to drop out of college to pay the bills, but that mentally she can't handle being in a house with me because I'm mad about everything and I can't let her live a healthy life. And I don't agree with that. And she has the whole family pinned against me.
Oh my god, what a narcissistic piece of shit, honestly. Also, it doesn't even sound like you're happy for her. It doesn't even sound like you're happy that she is choosing to be independent at such a young age. Yes, you become an adult at 18 years old, but not every 18-year-old has to become an adult. And it's a very difficult thing to get into. And you can't even express joy for them. Hey, you're doing a really difficult thing. You are going out and you are stepping up and you are becoming an adult. You got your own apartment at 18. And there's no congratulations. There's no I hope you do well, daughter. There's no I hope you succeed. You just want to sit here and bully your fucking child. There's this one comment here that said, mothers are some of women's first bullies. And that is absolutely true. This is disgusting. This lady is fucking disgusting, honestly. And I don't blame her daughter for moving out at 18. I screamed at her to get out and called every safe place she should have gone to and threatened them not to let her in, so she would have to be in an unsafe situation and sleep in her car. But she's the bad guy and I did nothing wrong. I don't understand how this lady confidently posted this.
Guys, I'm gonna go no contact with my mom because I don't like the way that she parented me. I feel like I have all of this generational trauma inside of me and I want to break that generational trauma, and I just can't do that if she's in my life.
Parents who mock their children like this just disgust me as well. Also, how are you hearing these words coming out of your mouth and genuinely think that that is a bad thing? How can you sit there and hear someone, I want to break generational curses, I want to heal from generational trauma and family trauma? How can you sit there and mock someone for that and also make fun of them and feel as if what they are saying is wrong or ridiculous? My mother would commonly mock me and mock my feelings. Do you think that opened a new perspective for me? Do you think that by her doing that, I changed my mind and the way that I thought and felt? No, her mocking me would just further these horrible feelings I had about my mother hates me, she doesn't care about me. Mocking your child is not helpful at all.
Even though I don't want her in my life though, I feel like it's really important that she takes accountability and she tells me many times that she's sorry for everything.
If you treated your children poorly, wouldn't you want to apologize for that? I don't understand. I don't understand the amount of people who don't like accountability. If you can't take accountability, how are you going to grow as a person and change as a person? And the amount of people who genuinely cannot apologize for the horrible things they've done to people is upsetting and concerning. The world does not revolve around you. Recognizing when you are wrong and changing the negative things about you, I feel like that is more applaudable than sitting there and mocking someone. What is wrong with these people?
I'm not going to be specific and tell her what I didn't like because, that would just make things clear and I'm obviously a fucking whack job.
Oh Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. These people are making me lose 1 million brain cells per second. I feel stupider after watching this. You are claiming that you don't know what you did wrong and that your child isn't gonna tell you what you did wrong, and then you would proceed to then call said child a whack job? Lady, maybe calling your child a whack job has something to do with it.
It's nice to see her like grovel a little. I feel like some type of pleasure, like this weird, like perverted pleasure from it. And so I'd like to see her grovel a bit. That would be nice. It would remind me of like when I did a lot of things wrong when I was younger and I had to cry and feel sad in my room because she was reprimanding me. And then like, you know, I want to see her do that now. She's not going to know why she's doing it, and that's not even important. The important thing is that she takes accountability. It's still not going to be good enough, though.
This lady is, like, disgusting me. This lady, I can very clearly, I don't even have to know the full story, I can just clearly tell why the fuck your child does not talk to you anymore. And unfortunately, the entire comment section is people also dogging on their kids and agreeing with this lady. And just the amount of people who genuinely act like this is disgusting. This is so childish. To sit there and film yourself mocking your child publicly online and not thinking that there's anything wrong with you and putting all of the blame onto your child who very obviously doesn't want to talk to you for a reason is so childish and immature. Again, you are the parent in this situation. You are the adult in this situation. Fucking act like it. Act like it. Sitting here and making a skit on TikTok mocking your children makes you look stupid. And it makes me feel stupid watching it. They don't like being parented. They think they're above authority figures. They believed they were entitled to a perfect fairy tale childhood with no rules or punishment or consequences. That's not true. A lot of people know that like every child has to be disciplined. Your children who are estranged from you were not expecting an amazing fairy tale life. But hey, your children were also probably not expecting to be fucking abused by you their entire childhood and upbringing. No one can have a perfect childhood, but no child should have to endure abuse from childish, immature parents who, again, won't take accountability and think that taking accountability is a horrible, nasty thing that they don't have to do because they're awesome and this and that. The double standards are just insane. People who have had good families and parents have probably been disciplined, but probably not disciplined so severely to the point where it would affect their relationship with their parents. I know no one can be a perfect parent, but maybe you should like sit there and deconstruct how you parented your child and how that could have affected them negatively, because everyone's view of discipline and good parenting is very subjective. If you beat the fuck out of your kid and you think that it's necessary and that you're being a good parent because you're disciplining them, not everyone thinks that that is good parenting, like at all. And these parents are being so vague about what they're doing, and it's for a fucking reason. It's really sad to see all of these comments of these people who don't take accountability and think that they're perfect. There's a lot of really nasty people in these fucking comments, and they're all boomers and Gen X. And may I just say, I'm not trying to be ageist again, but like a lot of boomer parents were horrible to their kids, and a lot of their kids were Gen X. And yes, generational trauma is a very real thing. Those boomer fucking parents who treated their kids horribly and did abuse their children, I feel like back then they didn't have the resources or the knowledge or the community to talk about stuff like this. They just didn't call it trauma. A lot of Gen X was fucking abused by their boomer parents. My mother was abused by her boomer parents, but they would never treat it as such. My mother and my aunt would talk about how their parents used to beat the shit out of them. Hey, that's physical fucking abuse. I don't think you should spank your children, which there are like legal guidelines on how to correctly spank your children. I don't agree with spanking, but like, I can tell you that a lot of people who were probably spanked probably just don't willy-nilly accuse their parents of physically abusing them. I was physically abused and it was not in the form of spanking. It wasn't spanking, and it carried on into being a teenager. A lot of Gen X people have gone through the same exact things where they have endured physical abuse beyond spanking, but they don't see it as, they don't want to say it's abuse. They don't want to admit it's abuse or something like that. And a lot of these Gen X parents just, instead of fixing that cycle and instead of saying, hey, I hate the way my parents treated me, I'm gonna treat my child differently, they just instead continue on with the cycle. And it is a generational thing. I don't know why Gen Z is being so criticized by these people for not wanting to do that and for wanting to break out of that. Hey mom, your mom fucking abused and beat the shit out of you. So in return, you abused and beat the shit out of me. Why am I then the piece of shit for wanting to do something about it? Why are Gen Z being demonized by these Gen X parents for wanting change and for wanting to do something about it, wanting to repair the relationship? And part of me feels like it's a little bit of jealousy, because Gen X, it is not within their generation and within their mindsets to cut off their parents. A lot of Gen X people don't cut off their abusive boomer parents. I'm not saying every boomer and every Gen X parent is abusive, but it's common. A lot of boomers treated their kids like shit. They literally had to have PSAs on television to make sure that they were not verbally abusing their children, that they were being nice to their children, giving their children affection. Once the clock struck 10 o'clock, there would be PSAs on TV asking boomer parents if they knew where their kids were. A lot of boomer parents just didn't fucking take care of their kids. That is abusive. That is neglectful. And that is what a lot of Gen X people had to endure. But a lot of Gen X people didn't do anything about it. They just dealt with it. They didn't want to reconcile with their parents or heal that part. And so a lot of them just passed it on to the Gen Z children and treated their Gen Z children the way their boomer parents treated them. But that doesn't make it okay. All of these people in these comments saying they think discipline is horrible and they just want to live a fairy tale life. That is not it. And it's probably because abuse is so normalized to them. Or maybe they feel jealous that their Gen Z children are doing something about it when they themselves could never do anything about their relationship with their boomer parents. This is all just theories. I don't know the answer to every single thing, but I don't know why it's seen as a bad thing to these people that your Gen Z children want to break these toxic cycles. That's what it is. It's a cycle. It's a toxic cycle. I don't know why that's being mocked. I don't know why that's being seen as a bad thing. I really don't.
An estranged mom? Are you an estranged dad that has a child or children that have totally written them out of their lives like they didn't mean anything? You know, most of us parents that are dealing with estrangement, a big majority of us were good moms, good dads. We did everything in our power to give our children a better life, a better childhood than we had. You know, some of us have been estranged for months. Some of us have been estranged for years. Some of us have been dealing with this off and on for many, many years. Sometimes you got to ask yourself, when is enough enough? You know, we're always being told that we need to be accountable, look and see what we did wrong. Well, guess what? Most of us have done that. I know this week I've been in my feels and I've went back and tried to look at the things I could have done differently as a mom to change things. You know, sometimes we have to remind ourselves that some of us were in marriages that were failing and the love was gone, and we ourselves were just trying to survive in our marriage.
I completely understand that, but you taking out your marital differences and challenges out on your children is not okay at the same time. I understand, like, a lot of these people are probably dealing with trauma themselves, unresolved trauma, and that's why they are the way they are. Being a narcissist is something that develops due to, like, abuse and and trauma and the way they were treated when they were younger. That doesn't make it okay. But like, even if you as an adult and you had children and you were letting the stresses of your life seep into your relationship with your children, that's still wrong. And you still need to fix that. And you still need to repair your relationship with your child. Like, just because you were hurting and you were struggling too, you still took it out on your child at the end of the day, and that doesn't make it okay.
I know that's the one thing that I beat myself up on, is staying in a marriage way too long than I should have. I was teaching my kids that it's okay to lift a rug and shove things under a rug. I was teaching my kids that you don't have to sit down and communicate. And I wonder why my daughter doesn't know how to communicate. You know, I was brought up
At least she's self-aware.
in a home where we talked about things. Sometimes it wasn't pretty, but we talked about it. We didn't shove anything under a rug. Whereas my ex-husband grew up in a family where they didn't communicate. And I can't take all of the blame, and I can't put all the blame on him, because it does take two people to communicate. But there was no communication there, and that's one thing that I regret, is not leaving that marriage sooner. So I know that I've been dealing with estrangement off and on for 8 years, and I'm this far along in my journey, and I know if I'm beating myself up for things, then I know you guys are too. And I just want to say this: if you know you were a good mom and you know you gave your all, then stop beating yourself.
I can kind of see where this woman is coming from. But again, being a good mom or a good parent is completely subjective. I understand if you went through your own struggles while raising your children, but you yourself said, I didn't teach my children how to communicate. I taught my children to brush things under the rug and to not talk about things. And you're wrong for that. And I'm sure you recognize you're wrong for that, but now it's time to repair the relationship. Sit down with your child and talk about things. I'm not saying she has never done that, but I don't really understand the point of this video. You're still in the wrong, and you still need to work on your relationship with your child. You can think that you're a good parent all that you want, but if your adult children don't talk to you, you probably were not as good as a parent as you thought you were. And that takes a lot of introspection and a lot of healing to realize. And unfortunately, a lot of people will never get to that point, which is really upsetting. But I think I'm going to end this video here. That was so just mind-numbingly ridiculous at times, and I can't believe there are so many people out in the world who cannot take accountability and work on their relationship with their children out of pride and out of ego. And that is what destroys these relationships, is wrath, pride, and ego. I feel like a lot of these people were not giving the full story, but then again, we don't need the full story, because just the way these people talk is so telling. So anyways, I know today was a little bit of a heavier video, but if you yourself are an estranged child, I hope that you could find some sense of relatability to this. But even if you are not an estranged child, I would still love to hear your thoughts down below. What do you think of these estranged parents? I think a lot of them are just victimizing themselves, honestly. I just want to make it so clear, if there's any estranged parents watching this right now, going no contact is a last resort effort. No one wants to go no contact with their parent. It's probably because you as the parent had hold them up and put them up against the wall for them to make this decision. This is like a last-ditch effort. So if you're an estranged parent, you need to go to therapy. You just need to go to therapy and realize that you are not a perfect parent, that you were probably not even a good parent. Again, not everyone on TikTok in this community is like this. I have seen amazing people take accountability and realize that what they've done is wrong. This is just a select group of people like this, which is just ridiculous. But anyways, let me know what you think down below. My name is Dimitri. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today and hearing me rant. If you want to catch me on live on TikTok, my TikTok will be linked down below. I also have Instagram and a second channel if you want to see more content from me, from Lulo Me. And yeah, I'm gonna go decompress now. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!